Welcome back to another episode of Organizing Tune-Ups with your host, Jessica Littman, the Organized Mama, where we are breaking down big organizing concepts into small bite-sized chunks you can do in your home every day for 5 to 15 minutes. We are going to be talking about some encouraging words you can be telling yourself on your organizing endeavors. The reason why is sometimes we can get super overwhelmed, super stressed, and really frustrated when we are organizing and decluttering. So sometimes it's always nice to have some encouraging words as we go through our organizing process. So one of the first things to kind of help you get started, because that is always one of the hardest things, is just to start, is to try letting go of some small things first. Really get that ball rolling by removing some just basic clutter. Those junk mail documents, maybe an old receipt. What about a broken crayon? A pen that no longer writes? Just something small. And then start building on that. When you start small, you're going to quickly see the motivation is going to be there because you're going to feel a lot lighter just from one little thing. So start small and then watch as it grows into you decluttering and organizing bigger spaces over time. Another thing to kind of remind yourself and encourage you to think about, if you're having a hard time letting go of things, if it's not an immediate yes, then it should be an immediate no. Now, there is always a little asterisk to this type of saying, but it is a good piece of advice to use on most things. So as you are decluttering a space and there's something that you're probably not, then it's a no. If you're I'm just not sure, and you're really truly on the fence, not your guts being you can let it go, because you know the difference between those two. But when it's your gut is telling you yeah, you probably should, then it should be a no. If your gut is telling you, oh no, you need to keep this, yes, then you know it's a hard yes. So really to start being okay with the indecisive probably means it's a no. Now the asterisk to that is sometimes some items might need to be reframed, relooked at in a different way in order to truly decide if you should keep it or not. For example, a piece of clothing. Sometimes you need to make an outfit out of that piece of clothing in order to see if it's actually you want to keep it or not. Sometimes you need to see an item out in your house, hanging on a wall, maybe even paint it to see if it works in your space before you truly say no. So that there are some things that are maybe, there are some things that you might be unsure of. Which brings me to the next encouraging word, and that is to ask yourself, am I decluttering because of rage and overwhelm, or am I decluttering in a clear mindset? When you rage declutter, you are doing it because you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you're stressed, you are overwhelmed by all of the things around you. Your brain is getting too much stimuli and you just need things to just calm down. You might be angry with kids, with spouses, with anything. So really kind of reframing your declutter as you kind of are going through and throwing all this stuff away. Stop, take a breath and ask yourself, am I rage decluttering or am I really thinking through the declutter process? If you're rage decluttering, then just stop. And I want you to think through a couple of questions. Am I in the right mindset? Which obviously you're not. If you're rage decluttering, you're not in the right mindset to declutter. So can you collect these things and then remove them, throw them away, put them away later? Because sometimes that's all you need. You just need a clear space to clear your head. And then ask yourself, will I regret getting rid of this item right now? Now, if you want to declutter without regret, I have a workbook that walks you through the entire process that you can get where you're listening to this podcast. But But I want you to think through and ask yourself, am I really rage decluttering or am I really thinking through the entire process? And then another encouraging word while you are organizing is if you're struggling with where to put something or if the pile is too big, move around the room. Get a new perspective. Whenever we look at things from a different angle, from a different view, we see things from a different lens. So really start to move around the room if you notice yourself starting to feel overwhelmed or stressed with the piles of stuff. If you are unsure of where something should go, if things aren't making sense and you just are ready to give up, move around the room, move around the space, and see things in a different light so that you can really rearrange things in your mind. Sometimes our minds focus on looking at things one way, and then when you just take a second to step into a different corner of a room, your brain is able to refocus on other things you might not have noticed from your initial perspective. So moving around the room as you organize, declutter, and really just kind of tidy up will help you to see all sorts of different things and different ways in which you can organize and tidy your space. And my last encouraging words to you is if you are struggling, ask for help. There are so many people that can help in all sorts of different areas of organizing and decluttering and tidying. If you need any resources or anything down below where you're listening to this podcast, I have a couple ideas for you. If you need some more specifics, always feel free to reach out because I'm happy to connect you with someone who can support you as you are on your organizing and decluttering journey. I'll see you in the next one.